Hey guys, John Pickard here. Going to do a quick review today on a wonderful little product by the guys over at ExplorAUDIO.com. Here's the link. Who make products to make musicians' lives easier, and they've come up with this wonderful little mic clip system for clipping on to various, or any instrument really, but I've been using it as a guitarist for my acoustic guitars, obviously. You could clip it to any piano, harp, anything smaller. There are various different clips, etc. When you're close miking an acoustic instrument, if you're like a guitar and you microphone in front of you on a stand, if you move a little bit, then the sound's going to change a tiny bit. Every movement you do moves the sound source in relation to the microphone. It affects the level, that affects the stereo image, and all sorts of balancing issues and various different things. So when you've got one of these, your microphone clipped onto your instrument, and then it's clipped to your guitar, then as you move, the microphone stays in exactly the same position. Pretty handy. So you get a much more stable signal. So let's have a look at how it works. So it's a modular system, so it comes with various different sizes and extensions of your boom clip, depending on what you're going to be screwing it into. Here I've got 3 pieces on this boom, 1, 2, 3, to get it to just the right length, which I want for my recording purposes. You could have it shorter, you could have it longer, by adding various bits into each other, like so. All nice and tight, nice and snug fitting, and you can put 2 or 3 of these on, or even more, depending on what you're doing. Like I say, this is about the length I want here. I'm using it for my Neumann KM184, nice studio quality mic, and this would be good for studio recording or live work as well, whichever way you choose. Sometimes when I use live, I use this smaller gooseneck, or you've probably seen this kind of clip, which also clips onto guitars. This one's by Audio Technica, which is good for small lavalier kind of size microphones. But if you're wanting a bigger microphone with more weight to it, you need a different clip, which is where this comes in. Pretty handy. Here you have a nice classical guitar. I'm going to try pointing it near the bridge, because that's where I think most of the sound comes from. So this is set up to be about the right width to fit onto my guitar here. I'm going to choose a strong point of the guitar where I know there's a block. And this is assuming that I want to do like a mono recording with just the one microphone. There's options for stereo mics, which I'll show you in a minute. Do have to be a little bit careful. And once it's on, you've got to be a bit responsible, because it would be easy to pull it and have an accident. It does come with cable ties. You could tie your cable to here if you wanted to, but it's not recommended, because if you then should tug it, it's going to pull on the instrument itself, isn't it? So you might want to just secure it somewhere else, somewhere level, with a bit of a loop for slack, so that if it gets pulled, it's not going to be actually pulling on the instrument. But there's full instructions in the manual that go with that. I've had a few questions about is there any sound transmission from from noise from here. As long as you're still and careful, you're okay. And you don't really want to be touching this, obviously, because it'd be like touching any mic stand. You'd hear it on the recording or live. But as long as you're careful and you set it up in the right place, you're going to be fine. Not going to be jumping around the room anyway. Pretty handy, really good kit. So that's with a mono recording. What about if you like a stereo recording? I like a stereo recording, don't we all? If I'm recording something like this, or a harp guitar, classical guitar or a harp guitar, I would use a stereo. But I mean, for live, I'd probably just use a mono. So for stereo, you can use 2. I have a second clip here, and then you might want a second one, say here. And then over steel string guitars, you're probably going to want to point the microphone down closer towards the 12th fret anyway, aren't you? Somewhere like this. So you might prefer your microphone there, depending on what kind of guitar you're playing, what your playing style's like, and what you're up to. Or if you're doing a stereo recording as well, you might have one here and one there. And again, it doesn't get in the way at all. Really handy bit of kit, really nice. Nice close miking. You can set it wherever you want. You want it a bit further away, not a problem. Very, very flexible system, really good. Love it. And another option for stereo recording would be to use a T-bar, of course, which you'll find in many studios and really good for home use as well. So this way does obviously add a bit of extra weight to the one point on the guitar. So again, you've got to be careful, you've got to be responsible with it, do everything slowly and carefully. Make sure everything is nice and tight and secure. You get the idea. So there's one mic on there, but you can easily add a second one as well. I'm using my second one here right now. I've been recording my harp guitars recently using this thing, and it's just so convenient. It's so nice to you do a bit of a recording session, and then when you finish for the night and you want to come back the next day, you just unplug it, unscrew it, leave it on the top, leave the microphones connected, and then you know that when you plug it in, connect it, screw it back onto the same place the next day, the sound is going to be just the same because the microphone position won't have changed at all. If I wouldn't use this T-bar in a live concert situation, it's just too unwieldy. But it is very, very handy and convenient for a lot of practicalities for recording. Now I know what some people are going to say. Does it affect the finish of my instrument, the polish, the varnish? If you've got a nice finish on your guitar, you're going to be worried about, does it leave any marks? So you can see a tiny bit of a mark when it's there, but it's not a permanent mark. It's just you've clamped a circular rubber clamp onto your guitar, and it leaves a little temporary mark. So with the soft cloth, at the end of the day, end of the session, little wipe over, and it's gone. The gentlest of wipes. This has got a French polish top on it, so I'm not at all worried about leaving permanent marks on the guitar. I did another one here, didn't I? Clamped it to here, so let's just do that. And that's completely clean again. Obviously, disclaimer, you can cause damage with anything, can't you? So be careful. Don't over tighten things. Put it on strong parts of the instrument, and do it at your own risk, if you're going to do it at all. But the benefits, I think, of having that nice flexible recording system really outweigh any risks to me. It's the H clamp from ExplorAUDIO. Check it out.